Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for August 4, 2022, the Bain Barred Edition. And we begin with that story from the Financial Times as Bain & Company, the Boston-based global management consultant, has been levied with a 3-year ban from tendering four contracts from the British government because of its, quote, grave professional misconduct in a major corruption scandal in South Africa. That, of course, was the state capture scandal. Britain is the first country to impose such penalties on Bain for its role in the state capture scandal, and there's now pressure on the U.S. to follow suit. So it's unclear if this will be a part of an FCPA enforcement action or something else, but this is pretty significant for Bain and for anti-corruption generally. Next up, from Third Party Trust, a first-time contributor to the Daily Compliance News. What is the cost of a data breach in 2022? Well, it's pretty stunning. The average cost is $4.35 million, and in critical infrastructures, it rises to $4.82 million. So obviously, prevention of a data breach is going to be much more cost-effective than detecting and reporting and paying. Next up, from France 24, a first-time contributor to the Daily Compliance News, former Mexico President Peña Nieto is now under investigation for money laundering. The announcement came nearly a month after the Finance Ministry's Financial Intelligence Unit revealed he was facing a probe for more than $1 million in international money transfers. He was president from 2012 to 2018 and now lives in Madrid, although I think they have an extradition treaty with Mexico. And our final story is a very troubling story indeed, and it comes to us from Reuters. The Missouri Attorney General is now investigating a company which evaluates ESG for companies, claiming, or at least alleging, that it violated state consumer protection laws in its evaluation. The review is two-pronged, covering ESG matters that the financial research firm violated a Missouri law aimed at protecting individual information from consumers, but also that it's aimed at protecting Israel from a campaign to isolate Jews over treatment of the Palestinians. Clearly, this is all a ruse by the Missouri Attorney General, but it's very troubling that one of the biggest business initiatives, certainly in the 21st century, has now become a target of Republican attorney generals, claiming that by doing this financial investigation, it's violating data privacy laws. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, and I'm sure we will be reporting on it on another episode of the Daily Compliance News. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.